My bad. Go ahead. My bad. I didn't mean to
Well,
cut you off.
that
Go
would
ahead.
be a mutation that has occurred in, quote, your people, end quote, as you stated, does not require light necessarily. Like, I'm seeing, like, on a lot of accounts here, I'm not really following you. I don't really think that's true.
But the thing is sickle cell is an antigen, right? Because when the red blood cells and the blood becomes tainted and affected, we see it expressed on a phenotypic level. All diseases, all venereal diseases, every single disease, every single antigen is connected to animal DNA. So again, like I said, we're not natural producers of these diseases. If we look at every single disease on this planet, and if we're the same species, why the hell, when we first came in contact with your people, why did 2 continents plus others alone get wiped out due to toxic seminal fluids? So again, hemolytic diseases do not especially the fact that bees are prokaryotic and they produce asexually through parthenogenesis, again, through binary fission. They make literal clones and replicas of themselves. So I don't understand, like, why are we all trying to be linked and grouped together again? It's like you keep like denying what I'm saying about the sun and the fact that mutations only happen because of the sun. These diseases that you're talking about we're not natural producers of these diseases. What's the origin of sickle cell? And I can prove to you that it didn't come from my people, right? So the thing is, when we look at zoonotic diseases, that comes from the same animals that y'all share DNA with. And again,
Hey,
there's several
sister.
scientists, there's several geneticists that are literally saying that so-called non-African people are the ones that have animal DNA.
Sister, we all have animals. Human beings
Hold
are
on for a
animals. I
second.
mean, where are y'all
Okay, hold on for a
I
second. Let him land, and then I'll get to someone to Eddie because he's been up here for a minute. And we do
I should
not
have
all have animal
been
DNA.
We are animals.
Okay,
Period.
give me a second and let him land because someone else has been up here for like 30 minutes. So let him speak, and then we'll get to the next
yeah.
guest.
I should have been writing some of these things down. For instance, the idea that bees are prokaryotic because they do cloning. Well, in fact, eukaryotic cells can clone each other, and in fact, bees do have eukaryotic cells in the process of cloning each other for the replication for the most part. And this, we're going to keep going back to this idea that only the sun causes mutations, and that sickle cell anemia has in fact come about as a result of non-black people mutating somehow. Well, in fact, sickle cell anemia comes about because of a genetic mutation on the second nucleotide of the 7th codon of the what's it called, beta strand of heme gene, right? Which turns the valine into a different amino acid and changes its structure such that the protein will deform the cell entirely in order for it to not be able to move through the bloodstream properly. Now, this in fact is a single point mutation that did not originate from like non-African people. Can we agree on this? And it did not come about as a result of light necessarily. Can we agree
You
on
said
that?
it didn't come from non-African people?
Uh, yeah, as I like understand this, it in fact did not originate in like non-African people.
So I didn't say that it came from non-African people. I said that diseases were connected to animal DNA. And what you just explained was an antigen, a foreign substance or entity that is present within the blood that triggers an immune response. Their genetics is not a natural producer of sickle cell
Well, in fact, sickle
because
cell is a
diseases,
genetic thing.
I understand
Sickle cell,
that it is congenital and it is present at birth, but
And
that doesn't mean that our people naturally
them diseases
produce the
came from
animal
historically
proteins.
y'all
And
messing
all
with
right, thank
animals.
you. All right, okay, hold on, horizontal. Give me a second. You see how they're over talking me. Just give me a second. I'll get back to you. Let's get to Eddie. Go ahead, Eddie. Evolution is the biggest lie ever told. How do you feel about the prompt? Eddie Mo, go ahead. You're on mute. All right, I'm gonna have to get to the next guest. Go ahead, Mound Builders. Evolution is the biggest lie ever told. How do you feel about the prompt?
It's an absolute truth.
It absolutely is the biggest lie that was ever told. And I want to say something, right? Your ability to retain and your retention on information is really good. So I want to point out a couple of things that I think that are peculiar, especially about the way that evolution talks about, right? And that is some of the anatomy of the apes that they came from didn't transfer into the human species that they're talking about, particularly things like the subcutaneous fat. The ape species has almost none, and that didn't transfer over into the human species, right? The second thing is that somebody has to explain to me the how you can calculate population growth and then tell me that you believe that that they came from albinos, because I know that that can't be true. Now, you brought up a point a few minutes ago where you were talking about the gene splicing had to be done manually because they don't represent each other at all in nature, which is absolutely the truth. So the question that I keep asking is, because you have a population of millions of people with those recessive genes, right? And you cannot explain it away by just saying that those are albinos. It will never be able to compute according to the population growths, right? So somehow this population of people are here, and we have no idea other than to deduce that their DNA had to be created in a laboratory. It
That's
had
what
to
I'm
be.
saying. A dog, a pig, and a cat, a piece of celery and potatoes do not naturally find each other attractive for them to procreate, for it to now be within the human genome, considering that like they share DNA with chickens. Okay, that's 2,000 years old genetically, right? Some of these things that this so-called humans share DNA with are new as fuck. They're like a couple hundred, 500 years old. You see what I'm saying? 1,000 years old, 2,000 years old. How is this within the genome? If it's present in his DNA and not present with yours, that's incomplete dominance.
Hold
So
on.
I got you with
Hold
that,
on.
brother. Thank you for sharing.
Hold on, bro, because okay, so the other thing that I wanted to mention was his hypothesis that you don't need light in order for some of the processes to happen within the cells. You know, if you pull up the page that I'm on now, I put this up because I'm not sure if you ran across this book, but it's a fascinating book. One of the things that I learned that I had to learn was how to read valuable information from white people that they only touch the surface of it, right? And part of that has to do with their DNA and the way that they view things, right? So if you don't have a discerned mind to be able to look past what they view and you're able to extrapolate on what it is that they found, then you'll believe that that is the end all and it's stopped right there. But that's not really the truth. This book that creates a body that would never otherwise be there. They can't be explained by the intake of food. They can't be explained by the intake of air. Nothing but sunlight. It creates certain enzymes and certain things inside of the human genome. But my point that I'm making is that you have to listen to what you're saying and just follow the trail. Do not let them sidetrack you from it, because what you've been up here whooping their asses and they have not had a chance to even breathe. And it's taken very little effort to puncture holes in things that are not deduced from common sense. Genius rests in the common sense. So when you're not able to use it, that's when you start to make excuses and you try and rationalize unethical theories. And that is the point that I'm making, is that I think that you know why and how this happened. And it's absolutely the truth. You cannot have all of those genes in their bodies without it being done manually. It's an impossibility.
Facts. Nature doesn't do it. The Hutton theory, which might I also add, and I'll get to the next guest, but Darwinism, right? 1860s. Well, 75 years prior to that was the Hutton theory, which explains the same cyclical and reciprocal processes will continue to happen on this planet across all life. That includes the land, that includes birds, insects, microorganisms, so-called humans. Everything on this planet will continue to stay the same. Their cells will continue to split the same. They will still synthesize the sun the same way unless something unnatural takes place to the environment. So in the 1800s or 1600s through the 1800s, you will see a lot of splicing took place on this planet. And a lot of your companies like the EIC, the East Indian Company, 1600, then they teamed up with the Dutch in 1602. There was a lot of splicing between the fruits, the veggies, the whole story of the forbidden fruit, Captain Shaddock or Chaddock, is literally the origin and the creation story of grapefruits. And that's one of many. So the thing is that we can sit here all day long and say, oh, well, humans doing it is a part of evolution, because that's not a natural process that is happening and taking place across all life form types, right? So I just wanted to throw that out there. Too hot, MMG, go ahead. Or who it, yeah, go ahead.
Evolution,
Yeah,
the
I don't
biggest
know who
lie
was
ever
that.
told. Of course it is. And like I was trying to state before, I mean, a lot of these so-called genetic anomalies that y'all try to um, be so educational when it comes to explaining off, like a lot of that is pseudoscience. Like I come to find out that a lot of pretty much everything that y'all write about is pretty much pseudo or just completely false. And if you go back and look at y'all history, like the older, like when y'all was first coming about, like they had pictures of y'all. They was calling y'all the wild man, the jungle man, and all that. Y'all made it seem like we was the jungle people, but it was y'all the whole time. Like y'all go, you got old ancient pictures of y'all covered in fur and having tails and all kind of crazy shit. So it's y'all, man. Y'all did this, like y'all did that to yourselves and messing with animals. Like you got certain holidays where y'all was having snakes with animals and all that. Like that's y'all nature. That's y'all soul. That's who y'all are. And the Bible speaks on a lot of this too. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I had to say. I didn't really have to come up here to say much, but you don't see no apes around here talking. If we came from apes, we're the rest of the apes that's evolving into humans right now.
I got you with that. Gratitude for sharing that. Cujo, go ahead.
Yeah, big up, Virginia. Is evolution the biggest lie ever told? Absolutely not. Sister, we are animals. There's no animal gene. The hell? I mean, what are you talking about?
Can you genetically and biologically explain to me how me as a
Yes.
melanated woman has animal DNA and how I naturally produce
Everybody
animal?
has
Look,
neuromelanin.
I'm finna give you the rules again. If you say something, allow me to respond. When you respond, no one else is talking because you're talking, all right? So give me the same respect. Don't overtalk me if I'm asking you a question. Can you, using genetic and biological terms, explain to me how I have animal DNA?
Yes, you are a mammal. Your mammary glands produce milk. Mammals are
No.
animals.
No.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is unequivocal.
So
Right
is
there.
my milk the same as a cow's milk? I just want to see what you're
Your
gonna
your
say.
milk is not made.
Is it composed of the same chemicals and proteins as a cow's? Do I have the same cells as a cow?
Can I respond? Why you mute me?
Answer
You
my
don't have to have the
question.
same cells as a cow.
Then
You
how the
do.
fuck am
You
I
have
a
a
cow
lot
then?
because
How am
you're
I
a mammal.
producing?
You
Look,
are a mammal.
look, man. You're saying mammal. Answer my question. You said I produce milk like a
You do.
cow. Do I have cow cells?
You don't have to have cow cells to produce milk. Apparently, all mammals
No, you're
produce milk.
not. Listen to
All
me. You
mammals
said that
produce
I
milk.
produce cow like a milk.
I
You
didn't
said that
say
I put.
cow like
Look,
nothing. You use
you couldn't answer me in biological and genetic terms. You used the word mammal and milk. Try better. Try harder next time. Okay. Explain it better next time. I think it was James L. Jackson. Go ahead. Oh fuck. Goats produce milk. A fuck. Bees produce milk. It's called honey. That shit is for their children. And you eating it. Are you a bee? No. That doesn't make you a bee just because you can eat honey. I don't produce milk like cows. So how am I the same as a cow? A cow's milk is not the same as a goat's milk. Is a cow a goat? No, they're not the same species. COD zombies, go ahead. Or Call of Duty, yeah, go ahead.
So
Bees, what I said, hold on. Cujo, you have problems comprehending. I said bees produce milk and it is called honey, and that the honey is for their children. Just like you're telling me about milk and how it is for the offspring, bees do the same thing, but it is called honey. Am I a bee because I produce something for my offspring to eat? No. Go ahead, Call of Duty. Go ahead.
all right, so I don't
Y'all not understanding what I'm saying, bro. Just forget it.
like evolution, the biggest lie ever told. I don't. How can you like argue evolution isn't real? I don't get it. Like, can you explain that to me? Because I just joined you.
Evolution is the biggest lie ever told. You requested up because you didn't agree. Go ahead and tell me why you don't.
Because we have tailbones, we have an appendix. How could you argue that's not a product of evolution?
You say because we have an appendix?
Yeah, an appendix is a byproduct of evolution, and our
How?
tailbone too. Because that's
Explain
from
both, please.
an appendix was from our digestive system, and it came from us eating more plants, and we needed, and other animals have something that's similar to appendix. I don't know what it's called, but our thing shrunk because we started eating more meat. So then that's why we had an appendix, and also our tailbones.
Okay. Evolution is a genotypical change. All right. So what within the genome, what about the genes changed? Because you're saying that we ate meat and we ate plants, and so that's the reason why it changed.
No, what I meant was, since we came from primates more mainly ate like herbivores. But then once as we started using more tools, we started eating more meat. So then we didn't have that much of a use for what the appendix was.
So it's no longer being used.
Yeah, that's why sometimes your
So then
appendix.
that's evolution. If something is
Yeah.
no longer being used, because that's supposed to be synonymous with survival of the fittest
Oh, so you want
and
me to
being the
say
most fit for their environment. So you're saying that we would no longer have the appendix because
Yeah,
it's no longer being used, but you're saying that we do.
the appendix is a byproduct of evolution because we don't have a need to remove it anymore because most of the times nothing bad comes from the appendix, same as the tailbone.
So
You know?
again, evolution means that we would no longer see it anymore because it has
No.
evolved into a new species.
No,
So
evolution.
if we still see the appendix, it did not evolve into something else if it is still here. So I got you with that. The tailbone. What's your premise about the tailbone?
The tailbones, since we came from primates, we had tails, but then it's evolution means a group of species has a mutation, and depending on if the mutation benefits this animal to reproduce, that gene will pass on to its offspring. That's what evolution is.
So apes have tails, like long vestigial tails, like
No, but like monkeys have tails, I'm pretty sure.
no. A chimpanzee and a bonobos is two different species. So who are you talking about? Are you talking about an ape or a monkey? Which type of organism here? What are you talking about?
I guess I would mean an ape.
So you're not really sure?
No, but you don't have to
Okay,
use.
so let's just do apes. No, I'm just asking so you're not really sure, and then you're talking about apes. Do apes have tails?
Well, some do, I would think.
Are they vestigial tails?
No.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for
Wait,
playing. Go
but you
ahead,
don't-
Croname Cal or Croname Ka. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this argument is completely illogical, right? I mean, we could start off with sickle cell. We can go into the genetic mutation of TTRV142.1. We could go into the GBA fucking genetic mutations. We can go into BRCA1, BRCA2, and don't even get me started with MFSD12, right? And plus, by the way, it's called jumping genetics.
Yep.
Someone who understands so much about genetics, you have no understanding of jumping genetics.
I know what jumping genes are.
That's fucking crazy.
Retrotransposons and transposons, jumping genes, homeobox genes and Hox genes. Don't ever speak for me. Come up here and actually talk for yourself. Matter of fact, the fuck off my
I'm
panel.
speaking for myself.
Yeah, get out. You don't know what I knew. I know exactly what retrotransposons are. Jumping genes, genes that insert themselves at other parts of the DNA sequence, right? And that's a byproduct of incomplete dominance. And the fact that y'all have spliceosomes that take place within your protein synthesis. SD versus the Kozak sequence. Y'all got to stop playing with me, man. Go ahead, Trent.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me. I got a few things to say, and I'm not going to say your people, my people. I don't like using those terms. To each his own, whatever. But to go to COD zone or whatever, and you were talking about, I mean, we are not done evolving. I mean, this takes millions and millions of years if you know the true life of evolution. And to go like he was talking about the tailbone and stuff, you tell me why a male has nipples. If we have not evolved from a primate or another lower whatever, why does a male have nipples and the same exact nipple a female has? Answer that. I got two questions, but that's the first one. Why do we have nipples? What purpose do they serve now?
Right, we can look at the masculine anatomy and we can tell that his origin is from the feminine, considering that the first 8 weeks of fetal development, everyone is feminine. We can also look at the eukaryotic function of the polar body in the cell itself. And then the phenomenon, which is the same expressed in prokaryotes with the new pole versus the old pole, and how the old pole is directly inherited from the mother and the new pole is synthesized in binary fission. So you're right. You agree with the prompt? Is that what
No, I do not at all.
Oh,
Like,
I don't.
I mean, you have
Your
a JJ, I
pectorals
have
come
I have
from
balls.
our
Like,
underdeveloped
I mean,
breast.
we both had X and Y chromosomes, but my growing area is a lot different than yours, but we have the same nipples. But
Oh
I'll take
hell,
your
no! I
I'll
get what
take
you're
your answer
saying
on
now.
that.
No, we don't.
I'll take your answer on that.
Yeah, you're saying
But let me let's go back to the DNA and the genes.
No, hold
Your
on for a second. I thought you were saying something else. Me and you are not the same species. So when we look at the skin itself, our skin cells stem from a different embryological origin. Now, if you were talking about my men, and that's why I explained the difference between the eukaryotic cell versus the prokaryotic, because I wasn't sure. So I just went ahead and explained both. So the thing is that if your skin cells stem from a different origin than mine, how is mine actually considered nipples if this is a different embryological origin? That's just what we're calling it, but what's the functionality of the cells, right? Because science is explaining the functionality. So again, let's talk about the pectorals and the skin in that area, which still can't synthesize the sun, but mines can. How are we the same species, Trent, if you get sunburnt and undergo acute body radiation and I don't? Largest organ on the body is the skin. It's the first thing
You
that we
keep
see.
going to that.
Phenotypical. Yep, because that's the phenotypical thing. That's the
Okay.
biggest thing that we see about
You're
each other is
jumbling
skin and
words.
hair
Hold me
and our
after
integumentary
Stefan. Oh
system.
my God, that is
Okay,
insane.
give me a second. All
Okay.
right, give me a second. Let me talk
Lastly,
to him and then I'll get to you.
okay.
Matter of fact, I gotta make room on the panel, y'all.
So while you're doing that, your people, my people, as you call it, we are 99.99% identical. 0.01% difference, which is skin, hair, and eyes. Pretty much that's it. So when you talk about potatoes and bananas and our DNA being similar to mice and rats, yours is too, honey. Yours
you
is
explain
too.
it? Can you explain it genetically and biologically?
99.99% identical to me.
Can you actually explain it though?
I'm explaining it to you.
Can you explain it
0.01%
biochemically
only
and using?
includes skin
Hold on for
color,
a second.
eye.
Hold on for a second. You're saying skin color, but what makes up the skin? This is what I asked you in the comments. What makes up the skin? Melanin, right? And the type of melanin you have explains the type of DNA that you have, correct? So why do me and you Why are we composed of different biochemical substances, but you're saying that we're the same? You're on mute.
0.01%. Skin, hair, and eyes. I'm talking about the rest of it. Do you think we genetically modified only the skin, hair, and eyes? Are you serious?
That's not what I said to you
Are
because you
you
don't understand
freaking
it.
serious? What
Listen
do you
to
mean I don't
me.
understand?
Listen to me, okay? I understand that y'all's prefrontal lobe, that frontal lobe is underdeveloped, and that's actually been proven. I'm sitting by Why Darkness Matters, written by 4 BOK neuroscientists. Okay, so we already know that y'all are struggling with comprehension as is because of the underdeveloped brain in comparison to mine. All right, so I'm gonna say it to you again. You keep mentioning the integumentary system, which is eye, skin, hair, and nails, right? So when it comes to the integumentary system, the skin and the hair, it is made up of a biochemical substance known as melanin, right? There are 8 different types of melanin, 5 that are basic and natural to this planet, and 3 that are synthetic. Me and you share a different biochemical substance throughout our integumentary system, which would mean that there is more than 0.1% of a difference, because this goes back to the
You're
embryological
talking to
origin of
people that
all of
don't
our cells.
understand you. Like, you're
Look,
talking
you're
garbage
saying
and
you
they
don't
believe.
understand me. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know that you don't get it. All right, so who's next? NHA, go ahead. NHA, Vert, you're on mute. Go ahead. All right, feel free to request back up. Brooklyn Knight, you're on mute. Go ahead. Brooklyn Knight, you're on mute. Go
Hello.
ahead.
Hello.
Greetings.
How are you? Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fully. I think you should be a professor because I'm like, where were you in my high school years, right? So, you made strong points. I want to give you flowers for that. So, but if I say anything wrong, please correct me. But I think the one of the missing topics that nobody mentioned so far since I've been listening and actually came in, is because we're all talking theory, right? Basically, and I don't think people should be arguing over theory because it's a theory. We weren't there. It was there before we were born, and then it's going to be here when we're gone, right? So at the end of the day, I just think the missing topic that favors your topic, and I believe evolution is a lie. Um, but I just think we don't have, in regard of the blood, I think we just we were missing that part of it. I think with the blood. I think we share blood with the apes, so to speak, but I don't think fully. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to bring that out there, just to like sort of flourish your topic a little bit if you want to break that down a little bit. I don't because when you were mentioning about the bees with Cujo, I think I still pronounce his name. When you were mentioning the bees on how we're related in some form, I think blood plays a big factor in terms of favoring your topic there. You know what I mean? So I don't think we have any relation to animals, but the ape comes as close to us, so to speak. So I think blood plays a big factor in this topic, and then I think sources. If anybody's gonna say something about their claim, they should show their sources so they could at least back their rebuttals, right? So, but anyway, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Okay, so you're talking about blood. I thought I heard you say that our blood is you said that you didn't think that our
I
blood
think
was
we share.
connected to.
I think we share. I think it's like just two different languages. Like I said, I'm not very educated on this topic, but I think I just follow that evolution is really a lie in some form. But I just think blood plays a
Okay, I
big
got you with
role
the
in terms of
blood.
the supporting role in terms of your topic. I think
Yeah,
I
I
think if you
got you
could
with
kind of
that.
like yeah,
I got you
you
with
could like
that. I
kind
didn't
of
want you
break
to have
that
to
down.
repeat yourself again. But when it comes to blood and blood types are determined by antigens, and antigens are
Right.
foreign substances in the blood that trigger immune responses. So they're not supposed to be present in the blood. Prior to us actually coming in contact with these people, there were no antigens on the planet. There were no
Right.
foreign substances. It was only one so-called blood type. And I'm saying so-called for the sake of the conversation. But blood types are unnatural to this planet. A lot of people here in the States rave about having O positive blood, O positive blood, or the O blood type, which is connected to zooborn chimps and pigs.
Right.
Each blood type that we see is connected to an animal. And these that got into our blood through way of grape and mixing for
And
over
this is where I
4,000
say
plus.
Cujo is wrong.
Right. That's why I'm saying I don't have ovum, right? I have totipotent stem cells. And within the stem cells, it's been biologically proven that there's seeds within those cells. So again, these other women, they have eggs, they have ovum because they literally have animal DNA, and we can smell it when we walk past them. We can smell it whenever they get wet. We can literally smell the animal proteins, the enzymes that are naturally produced by these people because their DNA is connected to animals that do the same thing. So I'm not trying to piss anybody off. The so-called human classification is true for y'all, but it has not been true for us until we began to be considered like 3/5 of a human. The more that the antigens got added into the blood, the more they began to consider us human. Prior to
So
that,
you
we
have a
were not.
different anatomy
All
than a
right, give
human?
me a second to actually respond to him, and then I'll be sure to get to everybody, okay? So the thing is that antigens are not supposed to be within the blood, right? An alkaline diet and eating more alkaline actually takes the parasites and the antigens out of our blood, but these people need blood in order to procreate. Their women need a menstrual cycle in order to have children. I've never heard of a so-called Mexican, a so-called Asian, a so-called YT woman get rid of their cycle and it be beneficial to their health. But I know several BLK women that don't have their cycle, and it's the most what's the word? Autonomous, like bodily autonomous thing that could ever happen to us, because we're the only people on this planet that have been connected to the figurines, to the sculptures that we are seeing predate these people in early civilization, that are depicting parthenogenesis, that are depicting giving birth to children in the Ankh status or in the Ankh pose, right? These women don't do that. They have to give birth on their back because of their pelvic floor inlet, right? So the thing is like, yeah, I'm glad you brought up the blood types and the antigens, because even when they're trying to bring up sickle cell is not natural to this planet, and it's not natural to our people, right? We only have these diseases because these people are on the planet.
Right. And
Every single
last
disease,
thing I
and
want to bring up
yeah,
before I
go
drop.
ahead.
Uh, I remember speaking to a doctor. There is supposedly be a cure for sickle cell. So y'all want to look that up. I'm not a doctor, but I did speak with a doctor around 2022 was the year, and they
There's
were
a
in.
cure. Yeah, you're right. There's a
You're
cure
a
for
dumb,
every single disease on
you're
this
a dumb
planet.
retarded bitch. You don't know
And
what you're talking about. Shut up, bitch. Shut the fuck up. You're fucking retarded. You don't know a fucking word you're saying. You stupid.
Was he
animal
talking to
DNA.
me? Was he
Animal
talking to me?
DNA. No, he was talking to me. The thing
Yo,
is
what's
that
up?
y'all love. Okay, thank you. All right,
I'm
I
about to
told you
say
not to
I
overtalk.
spoke with a doctor who told me that. I don't got to even take it up with the doctor, boy. I hope he wasn't talking to me, but yeah, go
The
ahead.
thing is that these people just like coming up here saying the N word hard R because we're getting down to the bottom of your existence. See, y'all want to be the
We're
same
not
as
supposed to
us. Y'all
know
want to come
this.
from
Like this
us.
is all
It's
just we're just talking. Like what? How everybody getting so worked up over? It's like we're just we're it's like brainstorming here. We're not supposed to know this. What high school was this? In college was these guys? You know what I mean? They're coming up here like they just very uneducated. Like it's like you got to smack their brain. Like we're learning things like after this is aftermath of when we're out of high school, right? So it's like Jesus Christ. All right, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm
I was just saying that these people like calling names because we're getting down to the bottom of their
sorry.
existence. The fact that we're seeing their people get smacked by the sun is pissing them off. But we're seeing your people eat dead shit off of the street. We're seeing your people actually result. These mutations are amping up. See, some of y'all are not just unaliving like that, like how we're seeing in the UK. Some of y'all, like in the States here, are undergoing mutations, right? What was it, like double digits of people in Jersey unaliving because of the sun. El Nino. Now they're calling the El Nino a super El Nino. So I wonder what your people are going to do, because y'all cannot take the sun. And that's what I'm saying. What evolved, so-called evolved species, is the sun, right? Mutations happen because of the sun. I don't know, the people that's in the comments that keep saying, oh, that's not the only reason why. What's the other reason for why mutations happen? Because the only other reason why it could happen is because of an excessive amount of alleles, which is unnatural. And that's because of a byproduct of introgression and genetic engineering. So I just want people to come in here, tell me how I'm genetically and biologically wrong. How are we genetically and biologically the same? If I can take the sun on a biological, on a chemical, on a subatomic level, all the way graduated up through my anatomy, and we can see it expressed through my physiology and through phenotype, how the fuck are we the same? I just went through my whole entire being, starting with the atoms, right? These people are not even composed of atoms. They're composed of calcium ionospores. Like, look, instead of calling names, intellectually debunk me. That's why Horizontal's still up here, because he's not calling names. He's not acting erratic. He's not over talking. You know what I'm saying? I respect what he's saying. Everybody else, y'all just want to come up here and call names. Y'all grown. Stop doing that. All right. So gratitude for that, Brooklyn. Let's see who else
I'm gonna
is
drop.
up
Okay,
here.
thank you. Thank you so much. I'm gonna drop.
Osman, go ahead. Thank you for coming up, brother Brooklyn.
Hey, what's
Osman,
going
go
on? What's
ahead.
going on?
Evolution is the biggest lie ever told. Go ahead.
Hey, do you mind just kind of expanding a little bit on what you were just speaking about on your? I just want to make sure I'm understanding you. So you're trying to ask how people of color are related to other ethnicities, or
I'm saying that all so-called everybody outside of our people is a different species.
okay? And how do you define species?
Okay, I'm gonna come clean. What was the reason why you requested up?
Uh, well, to be honest, I'm a little curious because I think it was just funny that this live came up on my feed because I just had my evolutionary medicine exam yesterday. So I've done a little research on this. So I was just curious to see what your stance was. So I agree with you in the sense that I believe that evolution is a lie. So I was just curious as to what your, I guess, ideology is.
Yeah, no species on this planet evolved. We've seen new species come into existence because of genetic engineering and introgression, but it's not because of biogenetic processes. All life breaks down to two cellular form types, prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes were here first and reproduce asexually, and eukaryotes reproduce sexually, but it's because they have genetic material from multiple different places. So they need that genetic material from other organisms to reproduce, which is unnatural and which we see in nature expressed under symbiotic relationships as parasitic. If you need especially like mosquitoes, or how these people have posed to be to us, living off of the G side of our people. These people don't naturally create anything on their own because they don't have neuromelanin. They're working with in vitro synthetic neuromelanin, which is present in a lot of them between ages 3 and 5. It's not congenital for them, which is another genetic difference between us. So all of the genetic differences that we see between us and them would lead us to the conclusion of us not being the same species, because we can only procreate with them due to introgression. They were unable to procreate with themselves when they stepped out of the caves because their anatomy did not allow for it.
So you don't think that? So would you agree? Would it be correct to say that what you're describing is more so like their phenotypic expression is different, but
Their
their their genomic expression is still similar to the rest of, I guess, the human race?
No, because your phenotype is expressing your genes.
Yep. So you're saying that we have a different genome and than the rest of the human race.
We're not humans. They are all humans because they have animal DNA.
I see
So
what you're saying. Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay. I think I get what you're saying. So what is your like? What is your belief in terms of like? I guess who do you believe in, like Lucy or like Luca or like things like that? Like, how do you believe we came about then? Like, well, where was the point of
Through
differentiation?
So our people come through natural biogenetic processes of conscious expansion. the organization of life as we know it. Atoms that turn into molecules that turn into cells, which turn into tissues. The tissues turn into organs. The organs turn into the organ system, which creates the organism. That's a biogenetic process. When we look at these people, they don't break down to atoms because they're composed of calcium ionospores. So they are composed of synthetic compounds, not natural compounds and elements that we see in prokaryotic life. Prokaryotic meaning that all of their genetic material comes from one origin and that they have a single set of chromosomes, that they are 100% that thing. These people share DNA with multiple things, 25 to 30,000 different genes that can only be manually fused together through some sort of hybridization. And we do see like the Sumerian text depicting an entity splicing on this planet all over the world. That's what the story of Noah's Ark is, the rounding up of two animals. And when we look at everything that is in existence, starting with microorganisms and work our ways up, there's at least 200 to 400. Some people would even argue up to 600,000 years worth of splicing and genetic engineering that had to take place on this planet because there are certain plants, there's certain animals, these people, there's certain microorganisms that would not come from biogenetic processes. Evolutionary biologists are saying it, which is the reason why they can't agree on the base premise of evolution. Synthetic biologists also disagree from time to time because they can't agree with how the eukaryotic cell would have gotten on the planet.
Yeah, that's something that actually I was just looking at my lecture slides yesterday, and I was thinking about that. So do you like ascribe to microevolution then, or would you say that we are a product of microevolution,
No, it's not. It wouldn't
or
be.
they are a product of
Prokaryotes
microevolution?
wouldn't be a part of microevolution.
But just by the
They're
definition of like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but just like by definition of the introduction of new alleles to a population, whether it be like outside of Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, like, do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I just wouldn't call it evolution. I would call it conscious expansion because
Okay.
everything that we've undergone, like the fact that we've fallen in like shrinking in frequency, shrinking in size, we've fallen to this copper colored rusted state.